Car subscriptions are nickel and diming us to death. $15 here, $20 there. Bleeding working families dry for over $100 every single month for hardware sitting in your own driveway. That's not a software feature, Your Honor. That is corporate pickpocketing in broad daylight. It's stealing overtime pay right out of a working man's pocket for physical copper and steel he already paid for in cash.
Your Honor, please. With all due respect to Ms. Jennings' passionate display, this isn't pickpocketing. It is the modern modular vehicle platform. We are giving drivers complete personal choice over their entire vehicle experience. Why force a buyer to pay up front for high-tier engine output, advanced safety telemetry, winter climate packages, or premium handling if they don't need them every single day? We let the customer decide what to turn on, when to turn it on, and only pay for what they use. That isn't extortion, Your Honor. That is consumer freedom.
Consumer freedom? Freedom to do what, Evan? Pay rent on a car I already bought? If a CEO stood up and said, "We want to charge you a monthly fee just to start your engine," every working person in America would walk off the lot. So they don't say that. They call it customization. They tell you it's just for luxury extras you can skip if you want to save money. They want you to sit back and think, well, I don't need fancy add-ons, so I'm safe. But nobody is safe, because luxury is just the foot in the door. Once they get us used to paying rent on one copper wire, they move the line. They turn around and put a toll booth on the basic, everyday hardware you rely on just to get to work and keep your kids safe. Just picture what happens on a normal workday. First, you step on the gas pedal to merge onto a dangerous highway, but if you want the actual horsepower built directly inside your engine block, that's a $60 monthly performance fee. Then winter hits, and you need remote start so your windshield defrosts before a 5 a.m. shift? That's $20 a month. Next, it starts pouring rain, and you want the blind spot radar built into your bumpers to keep your kids safe on the drive home? That's a $25 monthly safety subscription. And if you want the GPS screen in your dashboard to show you the route, that's another $10 a month. It doesn't matter what you drive or how simple your life is, Your Honor. They find the exact piece of physical metal you rely on to get to work, care for your family, or stay safe in the rain, and they lock it behind a monthly credit card charge. You aren't choosing options. You are stepping into a web where every single feature leads to a monthly bill.
Your Honor, standardizing hardware across our entire vehicle fleet lowers assembly line manufacturing costs. That efficiency is what allows us to sell the base vehicle at a competitive sticker price. We retain ownership of the software code that activates those systems. If a buyer wants access to enhanced capabilities, they license the code. That is basic software economics.
Oh, really? Let's talk about those assembly line efficiencies, Evan. When your factory builds a car, you don't make two different engines. You make one engine, build it out of real steel and copper, and bolt it into the chassis. I hand over $48,000 in cash at the dealership. I paid for the steel. I paid for the labor. I paid for the shipping. The car is 100% physically complete when it sits in my driveway. When Netflix charges a monthly subscription, they are paying for streaming servers, new movie productions, and data bandwidth every time a user hit play. They are delivering an ongoing service. When your auto company charges a customer $20 a month for their key fob or $60 for their engine output, you are delivering nothing. You aren't sending new parts to their driveway every month. You aren't performing maintenance. You built a digital lock, put it on physical property they already bought, and created manufactured scarcity so you can collect rent on physical matter.
Rent on physical matter? Ms. Jennings, you didn't buy a 1985 pickup truck. You bought a supercomputer on wheels. That steel in your driveway is useless scrap metal without our encryption algorithms firing every microsecond to keep you alive. When a hacker tries to hijack your steering, when emergency braking stops a crash, when federal safety regulations change, our engineers are working 24 hours a day to write that code. You want the protection, performance, and peace of mind of a modern smart machine, but you expect our engineering team to maintain it for the next 15 years for free? That isn't manufactured scarcity. That is the real cost of keeping modern technology running.
Listen, Your Honor, to how seamlessly they rebrand corporate greed as protection. He wants you to believe that writing a line of code gives his board of directors the right to hold physical property hostage forever. Why is Wall Street pushing every car company in the world into this subscription trap? Because for 100 years, working-class Americans relied on physical property to build stability. When you work 60 hours a week, save your money, and pay off your car, your house, or your work tools, you build equity. If inflation goes up, if you lose your job, or if a medical emergency hits your family, you own your assets. Nobody can take them. Nobody can bill you for them. Property ownership is the foundation of working-class survival. But Wall Street hates a consumer who buys something once and stops paying. So they invented SaaS, software as a service, to systematically destroy physical ownership. They realized that if they can wrap every physical object in a thin layer of software code, they can claim you only licensed the product. Today, it's 100 $100 a month in stacked fees for your car's built-in hardware. Tomorrow, it's your refrigerator locking its freezer compartment unless you pay a monthly cooling subscription. Next year, it's a carpenter's power tools shutting off unless he swipes a credit card for a weekly tool license. This isn't technological innovation, Your Honor. This is digital feudalism. It is an economic trap designed to ensure that working-class people can never get ahead, can never stop paying bills, and are forced to rent their own lives from multi-billion-dollar corporations forever.
Science in the court. Answer me directly, Mr. Smith. When a carpenter buys a steel hammer, he pays for the tool once. He does not get billed $5 every time he drives a nail. Are you telling this court that if your company installs a physical iron engine block into a vehicle, collects $48,000 in cash, and hands over the title, you retain the right to remotely shut down that engine from a skyscraper in Detroit until a night shift nurse swipes her credit card on a smartphone app?
It is a licensed platform, Your Honor, and she gave full legal consent. She signed our end-user license agreement before driving off the lot. Page 42, Section 14 explicitly states that access to pre-installed physical modules is contingent upon maintaining active digital subscription tiers.
Stop lying, Evan! A working mother buying a car to get her kids to school and get to her hospital job is handed a 50-page tablet at a dealership and told sign here or walk home. And you call that consent? That isn't a choice, Evan. That is corporate coercion.
Order in this courtroom. That is enough, Mr. Smith. A fine print software license agreement cannot rewrite centuries of American property law. You cannot wrap a piece of physical copper wire in 6 lines of software code and pretend it isn't property anymore. When an automaker sells a physical object for full cash value, intentionally installing digital kill switches to sabotage pre-installed hardware behind recurring paywalls is not innovation. It is bad faith conversion, civil fraud, and economic extortion. The defense's motion to dismiss is denied. First, I am issuing an immediate class action injunction ordering your company to permanently disable every digital paywall on pre-installed hardware across every vehicle in this country, effective immediately. Second, under federal civil conversion and anti-extortion statutes, I am ordering a mandatory disgorgement of every single dime your corporation illegally extracted through these hardware subscriptions over the last 6 years. You will issue an immediate, direct, 100% cash refund plus interest to every affected working driver in this nation. That is a $4.2 billion payout drawn straight out of your corporate treasury and executive bonus pools. And if a single digital paywall remains active on a single car in this country past midnight tonight, I will have federal marshals arrest you and your entire board of directors for criminal contempt of court. Court is adjourned.